The Suzuki SV650X. This middleweight naked of Suzuki has been around for quite some time. It's been out since 1999, and if you've been riding bikes the last 20 years, you would remember that the name SV650 got changed to Gladius in 2009. I remember it coming out in our country in white and blue. In fact, I was really attracted to that bike. I almost bought one. But then what happened was I got married, and I had a deal then that I had to give up all my bikes before I got married. And you know what? That's another story. I'm just gonna tell you about that next time. Where was I? Oh. Then, in 2016 to present, they dropped the name Gladius and went back to SV650. Now we take a closer look at the all-new SV650X. This is Machina Moto Features. One of the strong points of the Suzuki SV650 series is its good, rock-solid Suzuki reliability, paired with a relatively friendly low price. The SV650 series has garnered quite the following in the sport bike scene around the world, and remains to be one of Suzuki's top sellers. So what do we have here? Essentially are engine and chassis updates that up the ante in the power department, while still being able to pass Euro 4 standards. This is their Cafe Racer version. So it's got different headlights, a different tank, different seat, and clip-ons. Colors, we have them at Pearl Brilliant White and Glass Sparkle Black. I prefer the black, actually, because for me it's just more rock. The engine's form and structure is pretty much same old, but it did get updated in 2016. Power is at 68.2 HP at almost 9,000 RPM with torque at 42.9 pound-feet at 8,170 RPM. The engine I would describe to be refined and smooth, but it still has this underlying rawness to it. So, imagine a gentleman in a suit, but capable of getting himself into a bar fight, no problem. That's what this engine is to me. It's very inviting for beginners, but it's got enough punch for those whose excitement meter is set at a higher level.
People I know, places I go, make me feel tongue-tied. I can see how people look down here on the inside.
Like with what I remember of the old Gladius, the low seat height paired with its overall geometry with a rake and wheelbase can give the rider a very good experience in the twisties and corners. The handling of the SV650 is so good, I would definitely put this inside my top 5 list for handling in the middleweight department. You'll see what I mean if you can get to ride one. You'll be taking in corners lower, harder, and faster. It's just one of those bikes that can. The trademark awesome handling that the SV650 series is known for is thankfully very much present with the Cafe Racer version.
It's that little souvenir of a terrible year which makes my eyes feel sore. Oh, I know.
There you have it, the Suzuki SV650X. When you look at it, of course, it looks retro-ish. It looks retro-ish. It's not full-blown retro because the tank is a bit on the modern side, but everything else looks like it's older. That said, I would just like to mention that I feel this bike, as I mentioned while I was writing about, is faster than it looks. Now let me zone in into one of my favorite V-twin engines of all time. I have experienced their 650s with my V-Strom. I absolutely love that bike, and with this engine fitted in this configuration in this bike. Man, you're talking about a lot of joy, you're talking about a lot of torque, decent power to weight ratio, and a lot of fun. Now that said, because of that type of performance, I feel that Suzuki can still up the ante in terms of design and pushing it and make it even more retro-ish. I don't know, maybe put some classic quarter fairings over there, like make it full-blown cafe racer. This reminds me of an 80s bike, a retro 80s. It would have been nice if it had full-blown 80s retro. Also, what I would think would be an awesome improvement would be spoked wheels. Putting spokes there would make this absolutely classy looking. Now, in terms of what I would change here, of course, if you're talking about a bike of this design, I would change the pipe, of course. I'll probably put something smaller. I would keep the clip-ons, and although when you look at it, it looks like it's something that anybody can ride comfortably. Actually, this is full-on sport. You got your rear set all the way at the back there. You got clip-ons, so you're gonna be bent forward. This is like true retro race mode. Of course, I would shorten the tail a bit. That's what I would do if I were to custom this. In terms of trim and finish, Suzuki quality, not bad at all, I would say. In fact, of this level, of this segment, in this mid-sized range, I'd say Suzuki would be a bit above average in the sense that they put a lot of good bits over here. The grip I really like. This is really good quality grip. It's nice and sticky, and you can feel that it's not one of those hard plasticky grips that are cheap. So this is good quality, as you can see. The trimmings, the finish, all of that good quality, and the radiator sticking out like that, that's very old school, going from there to there. Trellis frame, of course, proper welds, really good. So imagine my love for the V-Strom 650 and how that now transfers to this in terms of its relatability, because it's essentially the same engine. So everything that I enjoyed about the 650 came out here in spades, in the sense that there's just more oomph coming out because it's a smaller, more compact bike versus the V-Strom 650, right? Now, if there's a favorite part of the bike, I would say this is my favorite part. This whole look is my favorite. It's this part that made me go, "Uy, okay too." That's my reaction when I first saw this in EICMA. But can you imagine this whole look if I had quarter fairings over here? Like a la cafe racer, that would be really, really nice. In fact, old school full fairing for this bike would make this such an awesome looking bike. In terms of the seat, this is something I would change. I would go for full stitching like what you have here, not this. I mean, for a bike that looks like this, I would go for something more traditional in terms of the seat. It does what it's supposed to do. It kind of looks the part, but if you're gonna go into the detail, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm more of a fan of actual stitches over here. Also, getting the right type of brown in a synthetic setting is very, very difficult. So that's why if you're gonna go synthetic, might as well go for maybe black or gray. But to go brown synthetic, unless it's the really super expensive type, it will fall short looks wise. However, in terms of the foam, it's nice and spread out. You won't have that much foam, as you can see. But because of this swooping angle over here and how it just cups your ass, it's actually fine. And this is also very, very wide. Tires are not bad. They slapped on some Dunlops here, although I'm not sure if these Dunlop tires are stock, because this is a Wheeltech bike, as you can see, and the guys in Wheeltech, they really use their demo bike, so I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the tires. Looking at the gauge this time, so as you can see, this is a pretty simple gauge, nothing fancy, no color except for the blue here and the yellow there. Everything is just that. Oh, why is it on check? It's because of the side stand. I gotta sit on it, put the side stand up, and the check is gone. Let's see what we got here. That's the odometer. I'm happy to announce I got this bike close to 6,000 kilometers, and I'm telling you, at this point, it's performing fine. That's the thing with getting brand new bikes. Sometimes I wish I'd get bikes I were really used and ridden. That way, the assessment for long term is more concise. Yeah, so far so good. Okay, let's fire it up. So this is what it sounds like. Another thing I would rave about is how you can feel just how rock solid and stiff the chassis is. I'd pinpoint this due to the design of the seat and how the suspension is performing. It's like the chassis is made of granite, unyielding and very stiff. Of course, getting a sense of this gives the rider a very visceral feel on just how well the SV650X is built.
Talk about brakes. Okay, let's start with the rear. ABS is working, but you can also consistently hear that it is skidding alongside the ABS. So release, release, release. Let's try the rear again. ABS is working, but it is going to show some skids. So for the front this time, slowing down gently. Front brakes, faster, a bit more pressure. Stopping properly, but the ABS hasn't kicked in yet, so let's go faster. There, now it's working. The ABS release for the front brakes is more rapid. It's not like a pumping. It's like a da 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 for the SV50. Let's go faster. 40 kilometers per hour. Nice. I was able to make the front skid a little bit. I don't know if you heard it. It go. So I would say between the rear and the front brakes, more or less, they're kind of at par in the sense that the difference in performance is not that wide of a gap. Meaning in some bikes that have extreme braking at the front, and then the rear is gonna go a bit but the performance for the front and rear for the SV650 is a bit closer in terms of performance. Let's try both this time. So stopping power again for both brakes, pretty good. Go faster. Hey, let's go faster again. Making the ABS work extra hard. Yep, Suzuki brakes, man. Not bad at all. Ibon.
But you know, like what I always say, there is no perfect bike out there. And if there is anything going against the Suzuki SV650X, I'd say it would be the timing of its release. The world is distracted. So many choices out there, and to some, while yes, the SV650X is a classic cafe racer, others might feel it to be dated. And if classic is the intention, perhaps a modern twist could capture the attention of more riders. Don't get me wrong though, there will still be that market where the SV650X will touch their hearts. The Suzuki SV650X is very approachable and nice for beginners, while still able to have a conversation with more experienced riders. Price tag, 459,000 pesos. This is Zach from Machina Moto Features. Ciao.
1,000 blundering thrills await me, dealing insurmountable odds greatly. The female of the species is more deadly than the male. Shock, shock, horror, horror, shock, shock, horror. I'll shout myself hoarse with your supernatural force. The female of the